Greetings, friends, and welcome to another episode of The Mistake Zone, your weekly dose of our lives and the mistakes within them. My name is Jaron Wade. Joining me, as always, one of my best friends in the whole wide world, Matt Alba. Hey, Matt.
Yo.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Matt, that's great. We're here another week, and Matt, I think we're okay to start the countdown. I know we've been talking about it for the last few weeks. We've been recording some episodes for the Vault, all to get ready for you, Rikush, and our friend Kevin, your trip to Japan. And Matt, time's a ticking now. Time's a ticking.
Oh, man.
Gotta ask, what's the preparation status now that
God.
we're, I think, is it less than 2 weeks or so before you leave?
Yeah, about less than 2 weeks. Yeah. We have 2 more recordings, and then I'm gone.
Oh man, Matt, exciting. But yeah, how's preparations going?
Jaron, the close by CAA where I can get the international driver's license permit is closed, so I have to drive farther than I wanted to.
Matt, that's so wild that you guys are. Is it just you doing the driving duties, or the three of you kind of?
No, it's gonna be mostly Kevin. It's gonna be mostly
Okay.
mostly Kevin.
But just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case? I feel that, Matt. I feel that, man. Matt,
Uh-huh.
sounds like you and the boys are going to be creating some good summer memories.
Oh man, Jared, I'm still scared. I'm still so scared.
Driving terrifies me, Matt, but I'm really excited for your adventures. But Matt, I know I said I was doing okay at the beginning of the show. I think I said I was doing okay in the beginning of the show, but if I had to be honest, Matt, I drank some coffee a bit faster than I should have, and I burned my tongue, and I'm still feeling the effects for that.
Damn.
So Matt,
Ooh.
when I have, remnants of a burned tongue, I feel like there's only one thing I can try to help alleviate that with. And you know what that is, Matt? Jaron's Kira Kira sparkling water review.
Oh man, Jared, would that actually help a burned tongue? I feel like the prickliness might get messed up.
So you're saying that my review right now is tainted.
It's
This
tainted.
isn't a fair review. Okay. This isn't a fair review because I burned my tongue, let's say, Matt, I want to say 6 hours ago or so. Will my journalistic integrity is at stake here? Let's be honest, Matt, no integrity at all when reviewing sparkling water. But I'm going to give a benefit of the doubt because I'm reviewing another LaCroix drink, back to back. Matt, this time it's lemon cello, limoncello. But that one thing that's throwing me off here is lemon is spelled Limon, and then lemon cello.
Doesn't that mean it
think
uses lime and lemon? I thought that's what that meant.
Oh, Matt, I'm looking at the design. The can itself is yellow, and I only see a lemon on it. So maybe we need to look that up, maybe educate ourselves. But for the most part, I'm going in. Okay, maybe I shouldn't go in expecting lemon if this is lemon. Okay, Matt, but here I go. Oh, So Matt, I know a few weeks ago you asked me how the smell is for one of the sparkling water drinks that I did, and I do have that scent of lemon at the very least here.
Okay.
And when I took that initial sip, I'll do it again, Matt. I'll do it again.
Jared, I gotta say, it's very concerning that instead of going directly for the taste, you decided to go for the smell.
So even with my slightly burnt tongue from 6 hours ago, I initially get that lemon taste, like that hint of lemon, similar to the smell right off the top. But as I've kind of, told you with the LaCroix drinks, previously, I feel like it it's an experience for the tongue where you'll have that initial taste kind of towards the middle, but you'll also have that aftertaste, like a slightly different taste towards the end, like towards the tip of your tongue. And Matt, the initial lemon's fine. Like I do like me a good lemon, but there's this aftertaste that I can't put my finger on that's throwing me off. And Matt, I don't like the aftertaste. Where I'm going to do one more. Yeah, man, it's that initial hint of lemon that I really like, but that aftertaste that kind of goes from the mid to the tip of your tongue. And it gives me, maybe this is like the cello part of the name or this solo part of the name, but it gives me this weird cream aftertaste that I'm not a fan of, where it doesn't even... It's not reminiscent of, say, like an orange creamsicle, which I've reviewed in the past. But it's this weird... You get that lemon, but then you get that cream-ish aftertaste that it's really distinct, and it's actually really jarring just to go from that initial, more so sour to that more smooth cream. Not a fan of this.
Oh, damn.
This is the first L that LaCroix has I've consumed in the last few weeks of doing the Jaren's Kira Kira Sparkling Water review. Matt, unfortunately, I have to throw this at the end of the list. I think this has so far been my least favorite drink on Jaren's Kira Kira Sparkling Water review. Going to put this, I think, currently at number 9 under the bubbly grapefruit. But Matt, if it was just that initial lemon, if it was a diluted lemonade without the sugar, I think I would have enjoyed this a lot more. But it is that cream aftertaste of whatever the second part of this is, that Matt, unfortunately, not hashtag. Of course, this isn't a hashtag ad, but unfortunately, Matt, the LaCroix Lemon Cello or Cello, unfortunately, Matt, not hashtag delicious.
Oh, no. Jaren, then again, this could be hashtag tainted.
Oh, true. we need to preface this by saying I did burn my tongue on coffee 6 hours ago, but I feel like even with a tongue that was 100%, I really don't like that creamy aftertaste where, unfortunately, that's what's ruining it for me. If it was just the initial lemon up front, I probably would have enjoyed it more, but normally I'm okay with, a cream soda. But there's something about this that's not vibing with me, Matt.
Yeah.
One more sip for science, of course. Yeah, not a fan, unfortunately. I think it's getting worse, Matt.
No.
Matt, if you wanted to drink a LaCroix, I'm pulling up the list right now. I don't want to... Oh, Matt, it's lingering. I don't like this. Matt, if I was going to drink a LaCroix, I think I'd recommend the key lime, or last week the black raspberry. Not the lemon, Matt. Not the lemon. But Matt, I'm going to put this to the side. Maybe between our breaks, I will kind of return to it, just to quench my parched throat. But with that out of the way, Matt, how have you been? Other than preparing for your vacation, how have you been this week?
Honestly, Jaren, I feel like I've been so focused on not only vacation, but prepping for the stuff that I have to leave behind for us to put out content. Jaren, I've started my what do you call it?
Spring
season video.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man, trying to get that out before we go. Or I go.
You're a saint, Matt. Since you're preparing right now, without getting too much into it, Matt, how's spring season looking right now?
It is looking interesting. There's actually like a lot of, and when I say a lot, I mean like depending on like how you're looking at this, but like two original new anime that I'm kind of looking forward to, and then two light novel anime that I'm looking forward to that I am purely basing on the trailers because Jaren, like we've discussed many times, I'm a manga boy, so
Right.
I don't have much knowledge as far as light novels go. So those two light novel anime might as well be anime originals to me.
All right. So look forward to Matt's spring season recommendations, anime that he's looking forward to coming soon to our YouTube. I'll eventually post it on the blog as well. But Matt, you opened the anime floodgates, and I feel like, you know me, Matt, we've been friends for how long have we been friends, Matt?
Ooh.
Over 2 decades now, I believe.
Yeah, I think we're at like 21-ish years.
Something like that. Something around, because we technically knew each other longer due to Yu-Gi-Oh! Social boards on game FAQs, game facts. But Matt, you know me, I'm usually late to the party.
Okay.
And I feel like I need to touch on this real quick, Matt. But I've watched the first 9 episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen, and that's a good anime. That's a good anime.
Good anime.
So I wanted to bring a few notes regarding JJK season 1, specifically the first 9 episodes to you, just to kind of get your thoughts, Matt, because in the past, when you talked about JJK, you, Rakush, couldn't properly engage with the boys. But I feel like we can at least engage to some respects now, even though I've only watched the first 9 episodes. Matt, I always watch the theme song. I always watch, I mean, not the theme song, the ending credits, because Matt,
good ending.
Love me the end credits. I love me Lost in Paradise as a song, but Matt, at the end, when Itadori does that pose in his school uniform, you know what I'm talking about, Matt. I've watched the end credit scene 9 times. At least 8 times. I've always done the pose with Itadori.
Oh, this guy.
Matt, it's a good pose.
I feel that.
It's a good pose.
It's a good pose.
Always have to watch the end credits. Always have to do the pose.
Do you just do the arms, or do you also lift the leg?
No, do the leg. Always lift my leg up.
Nice.
You have to, Matt. You have to. Much to the dismay of my partner, who's also watching alongside me. But I feel like JJK is such an anime that is up my wheelhouse, even though I've gone on record before saying that shonen not necessarily my favorite genre, but I feel like there's a good balance between the shonen aspect and kind of, not only do I like, the modern time setting, that kind of alternative high school setting as well, but for the most part, I really do like how, even though we do have some serious aspects within the first 9 episodes, there is still this easygoingness where I do appreciate that the students are still able to be students. And even though they're kind of learning, trying to become these sorcerers, you still see them have aspect or just be able to be students, which I always appreciate in a shonen kind of wrapping, which really does make it a bit more digestible, isn't serious all the time. And I go back to, I believe it might have been episode 7 or so. The title was Boredom. And this is the preparation for the exchange. And we have Nabara, and I guess, the first years meeting the third years from the other school. We see Mai, which I believe is Maki's sister, or vice versa. But I just like the exchange between the two students because, Matt, when the exchange is being described to Nabara, she asked, "Oh, are we going to be playing Smash Brothers? Because I'm really good at the Wii version." Matt, her specifically saying she's good at the Wii version of Smash Brothers makes me really appreciate how kind of not only random their references are, but how directly aimed these seem to be to people around our age, or at least with similar interests, because I've caught a few, lesser ones that I didn't expect, like one shouting out like wrestling, like Japanese wrestling legends was also something that I also appreciate. But Matt, going back to Nabara saying she's good at the Wii version of Smash, or at least Brawl, I like how she follows that up with her going Meteor Smash. Matt, how do you feel about Nabara being a DK main?
Oh man, I mean, is Meteor Smashes limited to DK, or I can't actually remember? Did she just show Donkey Kong?
No, she just yelled Meteor Smash. And Matt, if I go into Google and put Meteor Smash Bros. Wii, such compelling podcasting, Matt, from the Smash Bros. Wiki. Oh no, Matt, that it. You got me, Matt. The fact that there's a DK picture on the Smash Bros. Wiki threw me off, but you are right, Matt. It is a type of attack in the Smash Brothers series. So, Matt, this goof does not play anymore. I can admit when I'm wrong. So, to try to save it, Matt, who do you think Nabara's main from Brawl is?
Oh, Jaren, you know what? I think there actually is an answer here, because I think in season 2 she's playing Smash, and I can't remember who she's playing as.
Matt, is this the part where we Google? No, too much Googling now. To kind of, I'll tuck my tail between my legs right now and go back to the first 9 episodes. Love me Nabara, of course, but Matt, you know who resonates with me for obvious reasons? Matt, Nanami Sensei is he also created to directly appeal to people our age?
Oh man, I mean, because maybe
his introduction about, when he's introduced saying how he left the kind of after he graduated or something, he left, the sorcerers because he realized that they're shit. But then he realizes, oh wait, working as a salaryman is also shit. So if everything's shit, I need to go to the lesser of 2 evils. And I felt that in my heart, Matt. Felt that in my heart so much. But yes, I feel like with the first 9 episodes, it is just kind of a good blend of that lightheartedness that I enjoy, cool looking characters, good aesthetic, but also pretty good just overall action. I think with just the fight choreography, it's been pretty good for the most part. And what I really do appreciate, I think you mentioned this in the past, is how I like when Gojo is really introduced for the first time. He has this kind of allure, like this legend already attached to him, saying, oh, he's like the strongest sorcerer to him. And the fact that they gradually build upon it, when we meet more of the curses, when they talk about how they have to kind of incapacitate him. And then again, when we get to see his powers up, like for the first time in the show, I believe like mid-season, I feel like just the gradual build to making you like Gojo because he's a complete badass is, I don't know, I really appreciated that as well. But unfortunately, I wanted to make sure I was getting his name right, Gojo, and I put JJK Gojo into the Google search, and autocomplete just gave me a big spoiler. So, let's move on from that, Matt. But yeah, I'm enjoying the first 9 episodes of JJK, Matt. Do you remember how long season 1 was, Matt?
I thought season 1 was like 24 episodes or something.
Okay, so I still have a lot to get through. I know. Right now, episode 9 at the very least, I do like how that took more of a procedural role, with them just investigating the movie theater. So again, just all these different kind of ways to present episodes, and it's all building towards, I believe, that school exchange, and Itadori's kind of reveal that he's still alive. So I'm really looking forward to that. Matt? Knowing me for as long as you did, how is there anything, without any spoilers, anything in season 1 do you think I'll be really excited about, or do you think that just kind of based on the first 9 episodes, it's nothing like too out of the ordinary will coming up.
I mean, I don't think there was anything too out of the ordinary, but like JJK is a shonen as shonen, Jaren, and
Hmm.
if you want some good shonen, you're in the right place.
Okay. But Matt,
Mm-hmm.
while still on the anime corner, I wanted to talk about this last week, but we kind of got sidetracked. Not necessarily sidetracked, but just not enough time.
Mm-hmm.
We also got to watch the new Demon Slayer movie,
Yes.
Demon Slayer, to the Hashira training arc, or whatever the subtitle is. But
Mm-hmm.
Matt,
Mm-hmm.
again, this is another compilation film. It's a companion film to the anime TV series, which kind of incorporating, I believe, the last few episodes of the third season and the first, or either the first or the first two episodes of the fourth season.
Yeah, I believe it's the first 2 episodes of season 4.
And when we got to the theater, again, I didn't really know much about what kind of movie this was going to be, just because I know in the past with something like, was it Mugen Train?
Mm-hmm.
That was a movie first, and then that got broken up into kind of its own arc for the TV season. So,
Mm-hmm.
again, not knowing what I was coming to expect, but when the movie started, first, it has a brief summary, just something to get the viewer caught up and just kind of going through the demon story or Demon's Slayer story in general. And then we finally get to the last few episodes of season 3, which I was actually pleasantly surprised, Matt, because this is going to sound harsh, but it essentially picked up during season 3 where I kind of left off. So
Oh, nice.
I think
Nice.
that worked out in my favor. Where I remember, I saw like this part happening in the previews in the last episode that I watched, which was what I enjoyed. But what I specifically wanted to call out to you, Matt, was that this, I guess, towards the end of the third season and within this movie in itself, probably has my favorite scene in Demon Slayer. And that's
Mm-hmm.
when Nesco-chan finally says good morning for the first time to
Mm-hmm.
Tanjiro, post becoming a demon. And I've told you this story, I think, Matt, it was maybe 11 months ago when I returned from Japan. And when we went to the jump store in Osaka, where within the parameter of the store, they have all these different manga panels, kind of just on the top, as decoration. And one of those manga panels was Nesco saying good morning,
Mm-hmm.
and that will always be my favorite scene in Demon Slayer. Just how emotional it is, how much it meant to kind of both these characters, and what it kind of represented to the story and all, where you are heading essentially into kind of Demon Slayer endgame at this point. And I feel like this is what marks, okay, realistically, I think would you say, Matt, maybe 2 to 3 seasons more of Demon Slayer, or at least 2 seasons in a movie is kind of how I see it
Yeah, I
right
think that's
now.
about what I would expect as well.
Yeah, depending on how like long a season is, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that what I remember specifically about the scene, Matt, is I found it a lot more impactful in the manga just because when I finally got to that scene, I decided to binge essentially all of Demon Slayer after I watched Mugen Train for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And needless to say, I believe it was like a Saturday night. I read manga for like 6 hours straight.
Uh-huh.
So for me to get to the good morning scene, I've just spent all this time with these characters up until that point. So, their trials, their tribulations, and to be able to have that moment appear made it a lot more impactful. Where I hate to admit it, Matt, but finally seeing my favorite scene kind of in anime, kind of in this film, it was a lot less impactful than I thought it should have been. And I think the reason I think that is because, again, Matt, I fell off Demon Slayer season 3.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't, the last time I really watched it was months ago. And to kind of have this scene thrown to me in oh, here's just a random companion movie, uh, with me not being able to spend as much time with the anime in contrasted to how much time I spent with the manga at the time, I feel like that scene is really impactful to me only when I've spent time with those characters. And since
Mm-hmm.
I haven't spent time with the anime characters in a way, uh, less impactful, unfortunately. But
Mm-hmm.
I might have still been misty eyed, Matt. uh, but yeah, when kind of comparing major scenes like something of that scale, Matt, do any examples come to you where you have one scene in one medium be so impactful, but then it kind of feel flat for one reason or
Oh,
another when it jumps mediums?
Jaren, I think I'm actually probably the worst person you could ask that to because I don't really feel those sort of things towards media.
Okay.
So,
But
like,
no, that's fair enough, Matt. That's fair enough. But I guess maybe not terms of impact, but is there a kind of scene in particular that you felt like just in general doesn't make the jump between mediums, or does anything come to mind, even just from a production or even presentation standpoint?
I mean, nothing really jumps out to me in particular. Like,
Hmm.
I think I guess like when I feel that the most is when almost specifically a shonen doesn't animate a fight well.
Right.
I feel like that is like usually when I feel like something like very close to that.
Yeah, I've always been curious about, that aspect. Now that you bring it up, Matt, where when we have a fight with on like a shonen fight in manga or just like any combat or anything physical in general, we are used to, static panels that really
Mhm.
leave a lot to the imagination. And
Mhm.
I guess for better or for worse, it's just how much imagination you're kind of putting into that scene, which, yeah, I guess I can agree, really lets down if the animation is either executed well or not.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's still a Demon Slayer movie. I think I did get a kick out of it where when we walked out and I was waiting for my partner who was in the washroom, some girls came out of the movie and one of them was semi complaining to their friends, going, "Oh, I was really confused because when the movie started, it just played the first, like the last two episodes that I watched in the season, and I thought, wait, why are they replaying these episodes?"
Mhm.
Where I guess, Matt, how do you feel about compilation films like this? Where is it something that you would seek out on your own, or is a compilation like this something you tend to skip?
Something like a compilation like movie is something I have no interest in, Jaren.
Right.
I already don't like rewatching content, so
Hmm.
having it presented to me in a movie format is honestly like not not it for me.
Yeah. And I guess the way it was framed to me as well was, I was fully aware that this had the last few episodes of season 3. But then I thought, oh, maybe there's going to be some bonus content, just something to help bridge
Hmm.
into season 4. And then it turned out, oh, no, it's just the first few episodes of season 4, where it does its job in making me hyped just because, again, what's happening by the end of the movie is just an element of the manga story that I was really looking forward to. Um, but at the same time, again, it's this feeling of disappointment of I can't wait for season 2 to come out, but at the same time, I'm waiting for season 2 to come out plus like 1 or 2 weeks more to actually get any sort of progress because again, as you said, Matt, I've already watched the first 2 episodes. So
Yeah.
um
I'm honestly kind of concerned about like this next coming arc, to be honest.
Really?
Because I don't remember anything particularly exciting happening in Hashira training arc.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of setup prior to going into, the domain, more or less, where I'm curious to see how long this actually lasts, because from my recollection, maybe I need to go back to the manga, but I feel like the setup maybe is like half a season and that's like Shonen pushing it to its limits of stretching, where I'm really curious to see how season 4 is broken down. But I don't know. It's still a good movie. No, like the reason why I wanted to kind of bring this up and compare it to Dune 2, because I also saw that recently as well, Matt, is because in many ways I look at Demon Slayer to the Hashira training arc as, if you were to go into that movie, without any previous knowledge of Demon Slayer, I feel like you're going to have not a great time, because there's no real story, even with the summary in the beginning. There's no real kind of through line storyline to kind of grab a hold onto. For the most part, it kind of just seems like nonsense if you were just an outsider walking in. Where I wanted to bring up Dune 2, Matt, just because, one, Matt, gotta support Kuya Dave. We're always going to try to support Kuya Dave and bring his work up here on the Mistake Zone. But Dune 2 is, of course, the second movie in a trilogy, I believe. Matt, I'll be honest, I don't actually have any affinity or like attachment to the Dune series. I've never read the book. I didn't even watch the first movie, to be completely honest. But the reason why I wanted to bring up Dune 2 is because even though it's a second movie in a trilogy, I feel like, as now me being the outsider going in, you still are able to pick up on the light narrative hooks that connected to the first one and then set up to the third one. Yet it still has its own kind of storyline going from the beginning, middle, and end that you can just go in, observe, and think, okay, I feel satisfied watching that movie. Where if I was someone with no attachment to Demon Slayer, if I went into Hashira training, I would have been kind of not only confused, but underwhelmed, just because I don't know who these characters are. I don't know who these motivations are. And maybe that's the difference between a niche, I'm going to say niche anime product compared to a Hollywood blockbuster. But in terms of Dune 2, I really did appreciate, as I said, how even with no attachment to the series, it is just a strong narrative throughout. I think it is your typical, here's your prince character who comes from nobility. His kingdom, or for the most part, is destroyed, and then he is essentially adopted by a kind of tribe who, and it's up to him to prove himself and be accepted in the tribe. And it's, a simple narrative. And then you also have, here's the evil empire who has their own kind of motivations, their own power struggles, where I was actually surprised at how much I ended up enjoying Dune 2. I think it is a solid movie that you don't need any kind of pre-existing knowledge of the story to really enjoy. And I feel like it, again, Matt, as a Hollywood blockbuster, it kind of has to serve you bits of information with the intention of, we're going to have people who haven't watched the first movie. So we're going to sprinkle just enough for you to kind of piece together what you need to know. And you're able to build like the world conflicts there. So that's something I did appreciate as well. If I had to be completely honest though, Matt, in terms of pacing, I think before the climax, it's pretty grounded, or as grounded as you can be for a movie such as this, with a hint of, I guess, sci-fi. But it's once that climax happens and then it goes into full character, the prince character revolution mode. I think that's where the pacing gets a little weird. I feel like it has a manageable pace until that part, and then after that part it just speeds. A lot of things are happening. It's your blockbuster scene. I've said blockbuster so many times, but it's your big budget scenes, explosions, effects, and all that. But yet, it's just a lot of things being thrown at you. Where that's where the movie kind of lost me in. Oh, so many things are happening. And it's kind of hard to keep track of all these characters, all their motivations kind of being brought to the forefront, where even as they introduce more and more characters, you kind of still get an idea of who they are, where they fit into the overall narrative. But by the end, there's just so many of those characters. And at that point, you fully know, oh, they're building up to the third movie. So I think, yeah, the first 3/4 are kind of fine as its own, but when it gets to that transition, again, being the middle film towards the third movie, I think that's where it gets a little weird for me. But overall, pretty good. Matt, gotta give it up to Kuya Dave. I know he wants to be take more experimental roles that are able to show his range, but unfortunately, Matt, he's still playing that kind of brute muscle character in this as well. Same, I guess he played the same character in the first one. So unfortunately, this isn't where you'll see him getting much range, but for the most part, I enjoyed him on screen. But it's what you kind of expect from Batista roles from just recently. So hoping he can get something more experimental. But yeah, Dune 2, Matt, I liked it. It's a bit long. The pacing gets weird by the end, but I think I was more engaged than I thought I would be. And that is me going to the movies this week. I have to admit though, Matt, we were debating if the movie theater had. Matt, did you see the Dune popcorn bucket?
Oh yeah, I saw the popcorn bucket. Did they have it, Jared?
No, Matt. If they had it, we just wanted to see it in person. But if they had it, there was a not 0% chance that we would. I guess if we saw it in person, we would have heavily considered upgrading to it. Because Matt,
Jaron, I think it's wild that it is like you're saying a non-zero instead of a 100% chance that if they had it, you would have bought it.
Fair enough, Matt. Fair enough. So Matt, speaking about companion pieces and linking, the link of trilogies, Matt, we had another companion direct this week from, I guess, Nintendo adjacent direct in a new Pokemon direct.
Yes.
And Matt, we got some news. I think it ended with its showstopper. But before then, we got a few things that I'm personally interested in. But Matt, I think for the most part, we need to kind of get into it. The main topic of the Pokemon Direct. And that is a new Pokemon Legends game. Matt,
yes.
We have Pokemon Legends. Matt, how do you say its subname?
I've been saying it or reading it as Pokemon Legends Z to A.
Oh, that makes sense. Matt, I've seen Pokemon Legends ZA. I've seen Pokemon Legends ZA. Matt, I like the idea that this could, in theory, be called Pokemon Legends ZA. Because, Matt, love me some ZA, Matt.
I like the reading of it where it's Pokemon Legends A.
Also good, Matt. Also good.
Yeah.
But I feel like, Matt, what do we know about this game? Just because we did see a trailer, but I think that was more so a cinematic trailer with no gameplay.
Yes. I am confused or curious on how this game is going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because from what we do know, the game is taking place in Lumio City. I think that's how it's read. And
That's Pokemon Paris, right? Or Pokemon's like
Pokemon
version
Paris,
of Paris.
Pokemon
yeah.
Paris. Yeah. And it's during like it says urban redevelopment, so it seems like it's going to be like post like the Pokemon War in X and Y.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering what the actual gameplay here is, because in Pokemon Legends, it is more so we're going to go around in this area and just like catch a bunch of Pokemon. And I feel like if the way that it's, I guess, like being pushed so far is that it is taking place within the city. And I don't think that that particular gameplay style links up with it being within a city, because that feels weird to me.
Where I think the discourse around this game in particular, Matt, is what. So we've had Pokemon Legends Arceus first, and does the question become: does Pokemon Legends mean that type of gameplay, as you said, going around catching Pokemon, open world, or does Pokemon Legends mean this is different than mainline Pokemon? Where
I guess like this is going to be setting the precedent, right?
Where I guess just based on everything we've seen, based on that trailer and the little information they released, do you have a preference of how you want this to play and essentially what precedent it should set for Pokemon Legends moving forward?
Honestly, Jaren, I mentioned it to you before, where when I initially saw this trailer, it reminded me a lot of Digimon.
Mm-hmm.
And with the way that it seems like you're going to be in a city where people are going to be interacting with Pokemon, if it doesn't carry over the Pokemon Legends kind of style, and I feel like it's probably going to, because what I want is Digimon World 1 kind of a Digimon World 1 style of game where you have like a single partner, which doesn't make sense for Pokemon, but you're going out and like recruiting people to come into the city, and that's how you are rebuilding the city. But I don't think that that's how it's gonna go.
Okay, Matt. So you said you don't think that's how it's going to go, but how do you think it will?
It has to follow, I think, first off, the like standard like Pokemon battle system, but within just the city, I'm just like really confused on how it's going to go. Like maybe you're going to be in like sewers, maybe there's something underneath the city. That I think that is like the most Pokemon, like I guess like monster catching way that it could be. But there's so much in the air. Like I feel like the existing Legends gameplay would fit weirdly into it. But then again, it might not be limited to only the city. So I guess I'm just like really waiting on what this could be.
Matt, I know this probably won't be the case, but could you see a world where there are gameplay aspects that are similar to Pal World in your catching Pokemon to assign them to different, I guess, renovation areas in Pokemon Legends ZA?
Oh man, I could maybe see that, but like I think that that's very iffy. Like I don't. That is. See, the thing is that is something that would be totally new to Pokemon, and while I could see it, I don't see them like iterating the game in that way.
Right.
But like it would be interesting to see like Game Freak go in that direction.
So, Matt, another thing I saw to come out of, the announcement of Pokemon ZA, two things. The first being, Matt, speaking to what we discussed a few weeks ago, where the Nintendo Switch, or the Switch successor is being pushed to March 2025. Do you think this game was pushed back? And two, is this a Switch 2 launch title?
I could see it being a Switch 2 launch title. I could also see it like being um, Switch 2's Breath of the Wild,
Right.
where it's on like both consoles.
Matt, if that's the case, I hate to say it, how poor do you think this will run on Switch 1?
Oh, I think it's gonna be really iffy. Like the cities inside of Pokemon have been notoriously bad. So I'm really concerned on how what seems to be city-based map is going to run.
Right. I think it's unfortunate to say, Matt, but not only is a curiosity of mine what this game actually is, what its aesthetic is, what its gameplay loop is, but it is that how will this run on the Switch 1? And big if this is a Switch 2 title as well, how different in performance is it? Just because I feel like when you have a new, big boy console from Nintendo, I want to see how you would think that some of its launch titles will at least show what it can do that the Switch 1 couldn't do in terms of, performance or power. And I don't know. I'm just really curious to see how this game will play, not only in general, but just perform on the Switch 1. But Matt, how do you feel about them returning to essentially the XY generation and, supposedly skipping the black and white generation?
That's disappointing. I mean, I think wasn't Legends Arceus black and white?
Matt, I couldn't tell you if I had to be completely honest. But I feel like a lot of people were expecting some sort of, remake, remaster of Pokemon Black and White, and for them just to go directly to, there was no Pokemon Z, so to go back to that generation, I think was also pretty surprising to people. But I guess, Matt, as someone who is more, was more hands-on with all the Pokemon generations, do you have a preference between the two? Is there any disappointment? Is there excitement for going this route?
I mean, Jaron, I'm disappointed if they actually are going to be skipping Black and White and Black and White 2, because those were like the two Pokemon games I didn't play.
Okay.
So I was actually like, after I saw, like, oh yeah, they're doing like Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, and then they did the Gold and Silver remake. They did the Ruby Sapphire. They did the Ruby Sapphire remake. I'm not imagining that.
I think so, Matt. I'm not as versed with the Pokemon as
like
you are.
Yeah, I have been waiting for the Black and White remakes because I wanted to play them that way.
Okay. That's fair enough, Matt. That's fair enough. But, Matt, I guess before we move on to some other things that were shown in the Nintendo Direct, wish list time. Matt, what's one thing, what do you hope most to be present, whether it be mechanics, gameplay, loop, whatever? What do you want from Pokemon Legends ZA?
I mean, Pokemon Arceus had the, what do you call it? I think it was like I can't remember the actual names of it, but it was like Fierce Quick system. I'm hoping they iterate on that because like they're already bringing back Mega Evolution. I'm wondering if they're going to do like, I don't know, a two type Mega Evolution thing where you can like pick one or the other when you decide to Mega Evolve.
Okay. Matt, if we're doing kind of dirty wish lists, Matt, what do I want? Matt, I want good movement. I like it be good movement in games. Matt, if I can free run as a Pokemon trainer, I think that would be really I just want good free running in video games in general. So that's what I want out of Pokemon ZA. But kind of moving on, Matt, rest of the news, not sure if it's for me. There's one thing that was probably for me, but Matt, are you still playing Pokemon Unite? Scratch that.
I was never playing Pokemon Unite.
Fair enough. We have 3 new Pokemon coming to it. We have Miraidon,
Phalanx, and Cerulege, yeah.
Don't know what any of those are. Matt, we also have Pokemon Cafe Remix. Don't know what this is, but it looks fun.
You never played Pokemon Cafe?
No. It looks cute, though. Matt, what's Pokemon Cafe?
I think it was like, I don't know if it's necessarily a match 3, but it is basically a match game where you are kind of it reminded me a lot of like a really weird Pokemon Puzzle League.
I
And I
love
enjoyed it
Pokemon
while
Puzzle
I was
League.
playing it, but like it did feel very what do you call it? Free to play, if for lack of a better word, where
Right.
they want you to keep coming back in every day.
Okay.
And I don't know, I just couldn't I think
Keep
it did
up.
have like a stamina system in
Right,
it, but I
right.
can't totally remember. But it didn't hook me for too long.
Pokemon Masters was a mobile game that I played in the beginning and fell off hard, but that's getting some new trainers. Now it's getting Glita and Glamora starting February 28th, which I guess was last week. And Shiny and Silver Tyranitar will be added in the game March 1st, which was also this week. Cool. Matt, new Terra raid battles coming to Pokemon Scarlet Violet. Matt, you playing Pokemon Scarlet Violet still?
Nope, haven't been touching it since I stopped playing it way back. And
Okay. Matt, Pokemon Sleep is also getting some legendary visitors. They're going to be adding the legendary Johto hounds.
I'm surprised they're adding the legendary dogs. That seems like such a weird ad for Pokemon Sleep.
Hey, Matt, I have a dog and she loves to sleep. So,
True.
Matt, Pokemon Horizons is coming to Pokemon Go as well. Matt, are you watching Pokemon Horizons, the series, March 7th on Netflix?
I'm gonna probably check it out once it drops on Netflix a bit. I want to see what's going on in there. I want to see Pikachu with hat.
Oh, fair enough, Matt. I too would like to see Pokemon with hat, but
I'm like seriously debating if I want to get back into Pokemon Go pre-Japan, just so that I can Pokemon Go while I'm in Japan.
Matt,
But I don't
think
know.
if you can, I need to know if people are still out there raiding hard in Pokemon Go, where even if you go, I don't know, with a 5 minutes, 2 minutes left in a raid, you'll still get a full party. I'm still curious, Matt. If you can. But Matt, Pokemon trading card game Pocket announced for mobile.
Yes.
And Matt, this is a collaboration, between the Pokemon Company, the Pokemon trading card game, with DNA working with Creatures Inc. and the Pokemon Company for this game. Matt, this is a Pokemon trading card game on your phones. The biggest seller to me, Matt, is 2 free packs every day.
2 free packs a day sounds wild to me, Jaron. That is like, I think, too insane of a drip
Where
of packs to me.
So, of course, this will probably be out the butt with microtransactions, man.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And
Jaron, where else are you going to spend your Google Bucks, though?
of course. And from what I understand, this isn't like a one-to-one with the actual Pokemon trading card game. And I know there is an online version for that.
Yeah.
But with this one seems to be kind of a modified version of the game that seems, from what I've seen, I haven't really looked into it too much because, Matt, I'll be honest, not really into playing Pokemon, the trading card game. But
Jaron, it's so jarring to me that it isn't a one-to-one, like, okay, so the word that they used within this, like, I guess, like, trailer or, like, showing off Pokemon Pocket was like new streamlined game rules based on our existing battle system.
yeah,
And that sounds wild to me for some reason. Because I'm so surprised that they would rewrite their rule set for this game instead of just
doing
bringing
it
it
one-to-one.
over.
Where
Yeah, like,
I'm curious if this is going for that. Because, Matt, as someone who doesn't play Pokemon, the trading card game, I wonder how long the average Pokemon card game goes. Like, how long a battle usually goes for. And if this modified rule set is, just a blitz version of that for something that you can finish in a couple of minutes in comparison to 10 plus. I think
Yeah,
that's
probably.
the only thing I'm seeing for this. But that 2 free packs a day, where
2 free
I'm
packs a day.
assuming that's going to be, your standard. It's always going to be your standard, pack where they're probably going to, not probably, they are most likely going to introduce new boosters, new sets, where, Matt,
Uh-huh.
I feel like I shouldn't say this out loud, but I'm assuming everyone else thought this.
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't I just keep creating alt accounts and feeding? Because there's going to be trading, Matt. Why don't I just keep creating alts and feeding anything good I get in said alts to my main account?
I don't know. I don't know. That seems like weird. I'm assuming there's probably going to be some kind of trade restriction.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're getting 2 free packs a day, you're probably always going to have like, if it's limited to you always have to be exchanging cards,
Right.
you'll be able to do it. I'm assuming that they're going to do something like Pokemon Go, where it's like Pokemon Go limits how much you can trade via candy or something.
Right.
I can't remember what its restriction was, but it does restrict you from just like feeding one account all your Pokemon.
So this is, was announced sometime in 2024. I'm excited, Matt, because Matt, I like me some Pokemon. I like collecting Pokemon cards. Matt, I bought 2 Pokemon cards today.
Okay.
I bought a full art Miriam card, PSA graded. It was a 9. And I bought a full art Tulip card, ungraded. Matt, this joins my full art Iono card. And Matt, looking at my the 3 Pokemon single cards I've purchased, I can understand why that guy last week at the trade show showed me the 18 plus Pokemon. I mean, waifu cards. Where, Matt, I think I might have a type when it comes to Pokemon cards.
Oh man!
But overall, Matt, how would you rate this Pokemon Direct?
I think it's very interesting. I'm very curious to see what's going on with both Pokemon Legends DA and how Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket is going to, I guess, roll out.
Right.
I'm really curious on how that 2-pack a day system is going to, how much that's going to keep people coming in. And I'm wondering if okay, when I was watching that trailer, it seemed like while you do get 2 packs a day, you don't get them at the same time. And I'm wondering if that's because it looked like he got one when he woke up, and then he got one when he was jamming at school or something. And if you're getting 2 1 pack every 12 hours, I think I wonder how that's gonna feel.
Right.
That's 2 packs at 4 a.m. or something.
That's a good point, Matt. That is a good point. But Matt,
man.
Some exciting stuff for Pokemon moving forward. But I think most of all, it is just me being deeply curious to see how ZA runs on the Switch 1. And if this is really a Switch 2 title.
Yeah. I'm really iffy on that as well. Because Jaren, Pokemon Company hasn't really been known to, really push their programming as far as the Pokemon games go. So it's possible that even if it runs on the Switch 2, it could also be chunky on the Switch 2.
Matt, I feel like part of me feels like there should be no way that this will be chunky on your new hardware. But Matt, if it did, wouldn't be surprised. So Matt, speaking about, I guess Matt, is Pokemon a JRPG?
I mean, technically, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay, Matt. Speaking about being reminiscent of a JRPG, Matt, to return to my no recent activity, I finally got around to a game I kickstarted years ago. Matt?
Oh, okay.
I need to see when I actually kickstarted this game, so I'm going to put it in my, again, type in Google, and I do appreciate how the developer, Andrew Brophy, was really, he had a good Kickstarter, because I backed this back in April 26th, 2018. So Matt, I've received in that time up until I believe when it came out last fall, he shared around 57 updates, and within those various updates, he kind of just shows the different progress of him developing the game. He like pretty much in every update, he will have kind of a grid to kind of show, okay, what's been worked on, where what needs to be done. So it was really transparent. It was a good development cycle. But Matt, I'm talking about Knuckle Sandwich. And this, Matt, I've played roughly around 4 or 5 hours of Knuckle Sandwich right now. And I think I'll mainly talk about the first 2 chapters, but my quick review of the game is, remember Saturday Morning Arcade Season 2, Matt, where we would pitch video games based on randomly generated names?
Yeah.
Specifically, so think about that. Think about that specific time, the games we would pitch, and how those games would be, I guess, broken down with kind of throwing 2 genres together into one game. So specifically think about how we would pitch games that, and especially that kind of time in our lives, our general humor and the like. And I feel like that energy is Knuckle Sandwich, where Matt, I think Knuckle Sandwich to me at a glance is what this is going to be weird. I think Knuckle Sandwich is what people think Earthbound and what I assume Undertale is. As someone who essentially outsiders look, again, going back to outsiders looking in, I feel like if someone didn't play Earthbound or Undertale and took a look at, but knew what they were, and then took a look at Knuckle Sandwich, they would say, yep, that reminds me of Earthbound and Undertale, where it's, at least aesthetically, it's one of those RPGs. But at the same time, what's really intriguing about it is its battle system, where it is a turn-based battle system, which I like to describe as Paper Mario meets WarioWare, where
it's Undertale's battle system,
So
basically.
it's Undertale's battle system, I guess, where you do, when a enemy does a basic attack on you, you have that time dodge, similar to what you would see in Paper Mario. But it's when you get into attacking and defending, and especially using skills, that's where the micro game aspect of a WarioWare would come in, where during a battle, your basic attack is essentially, basically if you were playing a golf game, Matt, and you trying to find the sweet spot of a power meter. And within the first 5 hours, I've had 3 different mini games based on essentially a power meter mechanic, where you're trying to kind of get your marker within a certain area, and if you get it in a specific area, you can crit. And I kind of do like when you have status ailments, that power meter, whether it be the circle, whether it be a line, a horizontal line or a vertical line, kind of gets distorted based on what status ailment you have. So I really think that's a nice flavor. But then when it comes to skills, both you using skills and then you defending from enemy skills, that's where different micro games come in. And basically succeeding in said micro games is where you either do damage or you receive damage. And I think depending on the enemy, it kind of rotates the different micro games you might, have. But all in all, they're kind of variations of the same game, where one micro game would be, you lining up a shot, whether you're kind of sinking a golf ball into a hole or you're trying to shoot an apple, or you'll get a variation of a shoot 'em up, a variation of a side-scrolling shooter, a variation of you trying to catch something, a variation of you doing a platformer, or your character playing tennis, stuff like that, where there is kind of a good variety of different micro games. But I feel like within each kind of dungeon or area where you have these random, not necessarily random encounters, but these battle systems, where each area that has you kind of exploring and then fighting only has like maybe half a dozen to 2 dozen enemies that you can kind of fight in all. And
Hmm.
given how many micro games might be present in that area, I also kind of feel like once the novelty of the micro games wears off, it kind of drags. And especially early on in the game, since your speed is relatively low, you're always going to be attacking second, where you're always going to have to defend playing these micro games. And sometimes you might screw up your basic attacks and I wasn't able to do a combo, so now I have to play more micro games. And I don't know, as cool as the game is, I feel like the micro game novelty wears off just because even though there's kind of a variety, when you get to a certain area, you only play through the same couple of micro games that you're defending against from enemies, in addition to your skills, which are kind of always there unless you decide to change it. So, again, I like the presentation, but I think in practice, yeah, the lack of variety per area really gets to it. And Matt, sometimes with a turn-based RPG, it is kind of that balancing act of okay, um, with time RPG combat, it kind of does get annoying when it gets repetitive. When say I'm playing a Persona and I'm grinding a lot, it's okay. This enemy comes up. Where's my weakness, or where's my move that triggers its weakness? When can I do my all-out attack? Stuff like that. Where at the same time, it's, oh no, I'm facing this one enemy. The micro games that it makes me do are really annoying. It gets tedious in another aspect where it's more interactive, but at the same time, it just doesn't feel fulfilling after like the first couple of turns. But
Does it just like feel longer, like to you? Like it feels like more busy work almost.
yeah, where a fight that should I feel like these fights should be at least half the length they end up being, considering because Matt, if say you get into a random encounter and there are 4 enemies and you have all 4 of those enemies use skills that I don't know, it just feels like these battles are longer than they should be. But other than that, I do think it again has that same type of humor that really reminds me of that time of Saturday morning arcade, where in the beginning of the game your guy, essentially your guide NPC known as the bus driver, he'll ask you for your name. You enter your name, and then he'll tell you, oh, never mind, I'm not going to remember that. I feel like that tells you all you need to know about the energy and the vibe of Knuckle Sandwich, where you heal at a vending machine. This is where you heal your party. And every time the description comes out or you discover a new vending machine, it's, a new vending machine, something, something, something. But these still don't have the item I'm looking for. So again, there is some wit to it. It is kind of charming in that regards. And Matt, the title drop in the beginning of the game, don't want to spoil it, but it got a good chuckle out of me.
Nice.
But yeah, it's one of those games where it presents you with this illusion of choice where you have to do something, but then it will kind of turn around and say, no, your choice doesn't really matter. But they do that as a goof. Like, for example, it's, oh, hey, you need to pick one of these 2 people to be in your party. You pick it, and then, oh, wait, never mind. They're all in your party. Kind of that energy.
Sure, I don't know if I like that.
Oh, really? I kind of like that type of energy. But in terms of the party system, you essentially have 3 party members, but at least from the game I played, you only roll with one of them per area when their turn in the story kind of comes up. So,
I see.
So yeah, I think the story in itself is, you move to a new town, you meet the bus driver who ends up being this Matt, tell me if you heard this before. He ends up being this all-powerful being who, every time you talk to him, in his realm, it actually goes from that 2D look, Earthbound kind of aesthetic to, oh, this really reminds me of PS1 polygons. So there's some good presentation kind of going around, and the story is, oh, there are these things that are causing negative energy in spots. So it's up to you and, your guide to figure out what's going on. So
Jared, it sounds like to me you're just playing Inscription.
maybe I am. Not maybe I am. But yeah, that's kind of Knuckle Sandwich as something I kickstarted back in 2018. It's finally nice to finally get around to play it, after following it for so long. But yeah, unfortunately for I couldn't even tell you why I kickstarted it in the beginning. Maybe it was the premise of, JRPG inspired with WarioWare micro games. But I think
maybe just wanted to play Earthbound.
Maybe I did want to just play Earthbound, but I think in practice the micro games kind of make the battles drag on a little. These end up staying a lot longer than they kind of should. Where I feel like if battles were kind of half the time, or maybe if enemies didn't attack you as much, or maybe per turn it was, say, one micro game rather than you playing essentially 4 or 5. I think that would really help with the pacing as well. But I like the look overall. It's a charming game, but yeah, I wish the battles didn't overstay their welcome. But I like Knuckle Sandwich. Again, can't get it. I really do recommend the title drop at least, but based on kind of the energy I said the game has, might not be for you because, again, it has that type of humor, but it's good enough, Matt. It's good enough.
Good enough.
But again, maybe it is some. I'm not sure how it compares to, say, an Earthbound or an Undertale, but I feel like there is some charm to be found in Knuckle Sandwich. And with that, Matt, I feel like that is another fun episode of the Mistake Zone. Again, Matt, want to thank you, as always, for joining me this week and also editing this podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Garen. And as always, I want to thank you for, taking the reins and hosting this podcast.
Hey, thanks, man. But yeah, Matt, as I said at the top of the show, you're coming up to your vacation. So we're going to be recording, I think, a few more, I guess, regular episodes. Wait, is it 1 or 2? I believe.
I think we have 2 more. We could do 3 because I'm pretty sure that I come back on our usual recording day.
Okay.
We'll see.
But we can see. And then we'll have a few episodes in the vault that we're also going to do. But I think other than that, Matt, we have at least you have some games that you'll bring to next week to look forward that we can discuss. I got to find something that I want to play because, Matt, have to admit it, wanted to pick up Pacific Drive this week, but I missed. Matt, I could have picked it up 8% cheaper, but I kind of loafed it, and now it's only 20% off instead of 28% off, and now it's rough out there. Matt, but before we go, I linked you a picture there, like earlier this week, and I wanted to get your take on the show. Matt, what do you think of Dragon Dogmas 2 pre-purchase price being $95 Canadian?
Oh, Jared, I'm very excited now that I'm going to be on vacation while this game is out, because I'm really hoping that by the time I come back, by the time I have time to play Dragon's Dogma, that Dragon's Dogma will have dropped in price.
Oh man, Matt.
Because Jared, I'm just saying, maybe instead of grabbing Dragon's Dogma when I get back, maybe I'll grab Grand Blue Fantasy.
Oh man, a lot of people are playing that on my friends list as well.
Oh man.
Matt, I've been playing it because you're gone for 3 weeks, a month, I believe.
Yeah, 4 weeks, basically a month.
4 weeks, basically a month. Matt,
Hmm.
I was actually playing with the idea of what I should be playing in that time when you're gone. Matt,
Jared, don't play video games. Video games are bad.
Matt, for some reason, I was playing with the idea of is this the time I finally get around to playing Final Fantasy VII? Like
Oh,
original
man.
Final Fantasy VII?
Oh, like PlayStation 1 Final Fantasy
Yeah,
7?
where I
Oh.
think a good version is either the Switch version or the PC version with mods. Because,
Final Fantasy 7 is on Switch?
yes, in some capacity.
Jared, I'm planning on buying Balatro for Switch for my plane ride.
Well, Matt,
Uh-huh.
Matt, I know I had 20 hours at the time of recording last week. At the time of recording this week, I'm at 36 hours. And I guess quick Balatro check, even though we were kind of signing off right now. Matt, I think I'm at that point where I'm not unlocking a lot of things anymore just because I have a majority of the Jokers unlocked. I have all the planets unlocked, a good majority of tarot cards, where right now to kind of quote unquote progress, I need to be clearing the different difficulty levels. And right now I'm stuck at the green stake difficulty. And again, with no meta aspect, I'm not sure what I should be doing to be able to climb the different difficulty stakes. And of course, I'm at green. I think there are 3 more difficulties. I know there's a black one, there's also a gold one. And if I want to unlock the rest of the decks, I need to be able to climb. But then a lot of the times it is me, as I said last week, starting a run, seeing what my kind of bonuses are, or like my skip bonuses. And if I don't like them, I'm just resetting the run. So before I actually start a run, it's a good solid chunk of time just resetting runs until I like something. And as I mentioned last week, even if I get good skip unlocks, maybe I'm failing at the first boss blind, or maybe I don't know. It's the difficulty has finally reached up to me where I realize I can't solely rely on my flush deck because I'm not being able to get what I need, at least right now, to perceive how I can continue to push forward. But this is me 36 hours in where, again, Matt, early to mid Balatro, when you're still kind of getting your bearings, when you're still unlocking decks, unlocking jokers, it's a heck of a game, Matt. I think you getting it on your Switch for the plane ride is a good idea because, again, I'm not sure what you're going to do on the plane, but I honestly believe hours will melt if this game clicks with you on the plane. So I do recommend it, but I am looking forward to, if you do take the plunge when you come back, if you have any difficulty strats that I can utilize, or vice versa, because honestly, green difficulty right now, Matt, I hate to admit it, the only reason I cleared red difficulty is because I managed to get to like the 8 anti boss blind, and I had the Joker where if you have at least 25% of the completion score, you'll survive the round regardless of you losing or not.
Oh, true.
And I finished the red stake difficulty in the most anticlimactic way possible. So I'm now struggling at green. So that's my it's still a heck of a game, but when it gets difficult, Matt, it gets difficult.
Yeah.
Still recommend it for the plane ride though, Matt.
Man, I really need to like pull together a list of like games that I'm gonna have for that flight. Jared, I'm considering getting the 2-player, the multiplayer for Suika game, so I can con Kevin into playing with me.
That would be a good one. That would be a good Matt. Where's your idol manager at?
Oh man, I think I only have that on Steam. I don't think I own that on a thing.
Okay, Matt, I brought my Steam
Deck.
Deck.
I feel like Idol Manager isn't a game that I want to play like on a plane where people can look over my shoulder.
Fair enough, Matt. As someone who brought their Steam Deck with them to Japan, do not recommend bringing a Steam Deck with you.
Oh, really?
it was just big and bulky, Matt, where
I see.
I feel like I didn't play it enough to justify me bringing it. But I did bring my iPad, Matt. Did bring my iPad so I can say I've played Bang Dream in at least 5 different countries now. So,
Oh man.
maybe that's what Matt, I'm gonna ask you that next week. How's your on-flight entertainment coming? So I look forward to that report next week, Matt. But until then, please take it away.
This has been the Mistake Zone, and we're all out of that bad, creamy aftertaste from sparkling water.
Lamone.